don't quit when you don't pass the audition, when you're told no, because if you quit when you're told no, when you're told it's not your time, not you right now, if you quit then, it was never your dream to begin with.
Welcome back to the Samantha Show. I'm your host, Samantha. You can call me Sam. Just don't call me Sammy. Popping in with another rando podcast episode. Have you missed me? I hope so. You guys tuned into that last random episode, so hopefully we get the same kind of turnout here today. Quick little update. So every time I come and record a podcast episode, I'm here in my office. And what I do is I shut my office door. And so I used to record podcast episodes when it was like just me and Gracie at home, like during the day in the summer and stuff, like over the past year, 2 years, all this stuff. And every time I would come into my office, I would close the door so like the dog doesn't interrupt me. And that way, if Gracie wants to watch a show or a movie or she's on her iPad, like she can have the volume up and it won't like disrupt the sound. But I always tell her, I'm like, you can come in here anytime you need to. So like, just come in. If you need a snack or something comes up, like you can interrupt me. It's fine. I'm just going to keep the door shut. And she used to get like really nervous when she was little and I would come in here and shut the door. She'd be like, well, what if yada yada, or what if this? I'm like, just come in, babe. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, I'm right here. And she'd be like, can I call Grammy? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Anyway, it was really funny. I just went to tell her, I'm like, hey, and you know, obviously as she's gotten older, she doesn't care as much, but I just went to tell her, I was like, hey, I'm going to be in my office. I'm going to shut the door. I'm going to record a podcast episode. She says, okay, slay it, queen. What? Did my daughter just hype me up? She told me to slay it, queen, this podcast episode here. So hopefully that's what I do today. I can't believe it. She will always be my baby. Joe and I always refer to her as the baby when we're talking about things. Who's watching the baby? What's the baby doing tonight? She's going to always be our little baby. You know it if you got kids. But it is crazy. She is 9 now. We just got back from New York. We had a great time in New York. Actually, I ended up taking a Soul Cycle class in New York, which is kind of what led to this episode. But a couple other updates. I recently got into scoring baseball games. You know, I've been working in baseball now that I'm doing the green team with the Dayton Dragons, and I've been following the Reds more, and I've been trying to follow players. I really like the way how in the MLB you have these players that move up, right? Or they move up, they move down. Like they go from low A, high A, double A, triple A, all the way up to, you know, their big moment in the MLB. And I love watching that growth happen. I love really following, I think, more of some of like these younger players who are working their way up. I think that's really interesting to watch. But I've also been trying to get the scoop on all the big names. Ellie De La Cruz. I was watching Crow Armstrong last night. He's on the Cubs, and him and Suzuki. Am I saying that right? Seiya Suzuki. I don't know. Doing my best here, folks. All right, be patient with me. Anyway, but I've really gotten into scoring baseball games. I had this itch about a week ago. I was like, I'm going to try to score. I thought it would be good. I'm trying to learn the game better. Hosting, even though I'm doing entertainment hosting, I had the opportunity to PA announce a game. You don't need a lot of baseball knowledge. You're just announcing the batters now batting for the Dayton Dragons, number yada yada, right? So you don't have to have like a ton of baseball knowledge to do that. But I was like, well, let me gain more knowledge in baseball, because you never know. You never know what kind of opportunities are going to happen or open up, what kind of doors. So I was like, let me just learn more about the game. So I get the scorebook. I decide I'm going to learn how to score the game. And you guys, scoring baseball games is cathartic as fuck. I said what I said. Cancel my therapy appointment. I'm just going to score the baseball game tonight. No, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's like, to me, it's like doing a puzzle or like diamond dotting. Like, you don't need a ton of brain power. You're literally just like watching what happens and like writing it on the piece of paper. And it's not that hard. Okay. And so, all my sports Barbies out there that want to use jelly rollers and do some score booking, I think you should look into it. You can get as simple or complicated as you want, right? And honestly, scoring's a little bit personal. Like, you just have to keep track, but they do have like keys, and you know, if there's a more complex play that happens, how do you mark that down? I've been using ChatGPT to tell me what to do. I've tried to use Joe, and then he talks to me like I should know. Like, I'll be like, oh, why did that happen? What would I call that? He'd be like, can't believe you don't know that. I'm like, bro, I just started watching baseball 2 months ago, right? And I'm not even exaggerating, right? Like, I've been going to baseball games my whole life, but it's usually for the food, the booze, the outfits, and the vibes. Like, I haven't actually been watching the games until about 2 months ago. So Joe has not been super helpful. But ChatGPT has hooked me up with explaining how I should mark things down and stuff like that. I enjoy it so much now that I actually watched the Reds game yesterday and then decided to go ahead and score the Cubs St. Louis Cardinals game later that night. Like, I was like, I want to do another one. It's like, I don't know. It's like fun to me. It's like doing a puzzle. Like, I mentally can check out, focus on something else. So I don't know if you're... Check it out. Explore it. Let's make it like hot girl baseball summer or something like that. You know, we got hot girl walks. That's a thing. I want to talk about hot girl walks today. In fact, I don't want to talk about baseball. I just want to give that update and do that little plug. I think we could start trending with baseball scoring with girls and their jelly roller pens. Okay. Anyway, I want to talk about fitness now trending. Speaking of trends, I have been thinking so much. Really, ever since the downfall. I'm calling it the downfall. You know what? I have not worked for CycleBar since last October. And I'm not the kind of person, like, this is not going to be a bash CycleBar episode. It's not. It's really not. But also, like, I want to be a little more transparent. And I want to state the obvious. That cycle bars are closing all over the country. They have closed all over the country. Why is that happening? They were opening, they were like over 250 studios around the world. They had opened studios in Dubai, Australia. They were going on Princess Cruise Line, I think. So, like, they're like opening all these like studios, like the rise in the fall. The fall. You know, I think a lot, I miss CycleBar a lot. I really do. What I always tell people, though, is what I miss about CycleBar is no longer there. And that actually helps me get over what I miss so much. Like, it's not like I'm watching other people live the life that I was living when I was a senior master instructor for CycleBar at the peak of my teaching days. It's not like I'm like watching other people do that and being like, damn, like I got FOMO. Like, it's not there. It is non-existent. The brand has declined. Like, I don't have internal knowledge. I'm not sharing confidential information. I'm stating what I see on social media every single day. Another studio closed, another studio closed, another studio closed. Now, again, this is not a bash CycleBar. I think fitness trends. Something is hot, and then it's not. That sounded good, you know? And look, I think that there's a lot that contributed to kind of CycleBar's like decline. And every time somebody asks me, what's going on? What do you think is happening? What has happened? Yada. I'm like, there ain't enough wine or hours in the day, baby, for me to go into all the things that I think have contributed to this. But one of the biggest things, which is like nobody's fault, is that trends, like with brands, the same way things are hot in fashion are not several years later. When we look at fitness from the most basic standpoint, right? Like, fitness is like build your muscle. Maybe you want to lose some weight, right? Calories in, energy. I like to use energy. I talk about energy over calories. It just like mentally does better. Energy in, energy out. Like, that's how you lose weight. Like, you take less energy in than you burn. Things like that. Like a very basic, like, fitness is not going away. It's not. And fitness basics are not going away. You need strength training. You need some cardio. You need some like stretching, kind of recovery, you know, functional training, functional movement. Look, you got to watch what you eat. Like, that is the basics of fitness. But when we look at fitness as a marketable, profitable thing you can sell, it's going to face market trends and what's hot. And with the influence of social media, it's inevitable that something's going to be popular, things going to be popular, and then it's not. So just to kind of reiterate my background in this, I'm not trying to come into this episode as an expert in anything. This is a I just want to blab about this. Like, I've had thoughts on this. I've had observations in this. I have been working in the fitness industry for over 10 years, predominantly in the cycling industry. That is my expertise. I got certified through NASM, like my certified personal training certification, just over a year ago. I've been teaching classes at Shred 415, which is like a treadmill strength class, for just over a year. But aside from what I have taught, I have been taking fitness classes, all kinds of classes, yoga, Pilates, bar. I got into aerial fitness, pole dancing, the Lyra hoop, silks. I have done boxing. I love boxing, cycling, strength training. I've had personal trainers, multiple personal trainers over the years. I got into like a very brief running stage. That was very, very, very brief. Like I've done a lot. I've been in the industry a lot. I love it. I love this industry. I love watching what's hot and what's not. I love trying new things, like all these things. And, so I've been around it, but I'm not saying that I'm an expert in any of it. This is just some of my observations, and then maybe some thoughts for you as someone who's navigating the crazy fitness industry, or maybe somebody who has their own gym that they own. Like, how can you stay relevant and stay cool in an industry that's changing? Let's look at it like fashion. Literally look at it like fashion, because I think when it comes to like brand names and trends, it's very comparable in the rise and fall of like what's cool and what's not. What are people doing? What are we talking about? Right. And like everybody's always looking for, how do I lose weight faster? How do I get toned? Actually, we're not losing weight now. We're building muscle. Like, what's cool, right? Now we're talking about our hormones. We're talking about cortisol. We're talking about all these little aspects and different things like that. Social media, information overload. And so it can be like hard to digest everything. But I really just want to talk about the trends. You know what my mom did growing up? Jazzercise. I remember my mom picking me up from the babysitter, and we would go to her jazzercise class. She would bring her leotard. She sure did, her leotard with her leggings. And she would go do her jazzercise, man. Like, she was very religious about that. And I love, my mom's very active. She's always been active. In fact, I don't forget how many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, she took like a trampoline fitness class with me and broke her ankle for me. So she's always down to try new things. I think she finally realized like maybe she shouldn't do everything I ask her to do, but she's always been very active. So I'm just always so grateful that I grew up around that. But anyways, I remember mom going to jazzercise all the time. You know what I decided to do the other day? I was like, wonder what happened to jazzercise. So I Google it. They're still doing jazzercise. People are still doing jazzercise. So that's cool. But it's definitely not as popular as it once was, right? So let me start first with the rise of cycling in my experience, right? So I remember my first cycling gym. I went to my first cycling class at Gold's Gym in 2012. They had black lights and it blew my fucking mind. Like, I was like, oh shit, we got black lights in this cycling class. This is epic. I will be back. And I did. I went back all the time. I moved back to Dayton. We didn't have a lot in Dayton. So I took that Gold's class. I was living in St. Petersburg, Florida. I moved back to Dayton. And at that time, there was a new gym that opened. It was called Logic. And it was a cycling brand that monitored heart rate, targeting zones and stuff, which was pretty advanced for the time, pretty cool. And the vibes were awesome. Again, like the atmosphere, there's nothing like it, specifically in Dayton, right? Like, we're in the Midwest. We are several years behind in everything, but definitely nothing like it in Dayton. So far ahead of its time. It was epic, and I fell in love immediately. It was not rhythm based. We were targeting heart rate zones in that. So that was pretty cool. And I remember when I took those classes, they were talking about this thing called Soul Cycle. And so this would have been what, like 2013 or 14 now, maybe 2015, talking about this idea of Soul Cycle. I did not know anything about it. All I know is Michelle Obama did it. When I heard Soul Cycle, I pictured a church choir and women in their like long white robes with candles. Like you say soul, like that's what I'm thinking. So I had no idea what Soul Cycle was. Not long after that, 2017, Cycle Bar came to town. Everything changed for me. So I found out what Cycle Bar was, but even Dayton, we were kind of behind the times. But it was like this very epic idea of working out, but like this mental like release as well. Music was so far ahead of its time, like especially for Dayton. Like it was really, really cool. It was hot. There was nothing like it. And I think that's the important thing when we look at trending and stuff like that. There was nothing. It was so cool. At that time, too, with Cycle Bar, what they did, and I remember this was a selling point for me when they asked me to be an instructor. They said, our instructors are like celebrities. They are the star of the show, and it is all about them. And I was like, hell yeah, put my name in that. She's a Leo, all right? Bear with me. Anyway, I was like, hell yeah. And he was like, and we do photo shoots. So I was like, I'm in. Then I had to, learn how to ride the beat. You can go back and listen to If You Quit When You're Told No, that episode to actually hear that journey and story. But anyway, it was very trendy for that time and very cool. When I was at my peak at Cycle Bar, maybe 2019, it was like right before the pandemic, right? And the pandemic shifted everything. I had 50 people in my classes and at least 10 on a wait list. Every single class. That means me teaching 4 times a week. 60 people at least wanted to be in every single class that I taught. Like that was like the rich times for me. Like that was the peak of the popularity. Very cool. All those things. Then the pandemic hits. Everything changes. Y'all, who bought a Peloton during the pandemic? I'm gonna raise my hand. We bought a Peloton. Let me tell you how that conversation went when my husband, and at this time I was a master instructor for Cycle Bar, when my husband Joe was like, I'm going to buy a Peloton. I was like, I'm literally a master instructor for Cycle Bar. Come to my class. Like, we don't need a Peloton. We had a bike. Cycle Bar gave us a bike during the pandemic. So this was like once we were starting to get back into things. And Joe was like, we're buying a Peloton. You know who rode that Peloton? I did, practicing for my Cycle Bar classes, like to teach. So everything changed during the pandemic. What a massive shift in the industry. Everybody changed how they worked out. They found out how to work out at home. Everybody bought Pelotons. I guarantee you have a Peloton in your basement getting dusty right now. When was the last time you rode it? Go ride it today when you get done with this. Everybody bought Pelotons. People were doing online streaming. People found out how to work out at home. People found hot girl walks. Like, let's just go on a damn walk. That does a lot for you. So it shifted everything in the fitness industry. And coming back from Cycle Bar, among many other reasons that I think Cycle Bar has seen a decline. But when we're talking about just like outside factors and things like that, people found out ways to work out at home. They found, I think, cheaper ways to work out. And people also, too, I think, lost some of their stamina and their ability during the pandemic as well. When we came back, a lot of the riders, or not riders, but like the return crowd was not as advanced as the crowd going out before the pandemic. So it was interesting to watch that shift and see what happened. And admittedly, from what I witnessed, Cycle Bar just never could make it back again from that pandemic. Just the trends, the interest, it had changed. I mean, if you've been doing something for 3 years, 4 years, the pandemic hits, you get a whole new workout routine, whole new vibes, different things. Like, you kind of have a new routine, ideas set. Something else happened here, and this is more like related directly to Cycle Bar, but also what happened during the pandemic was social media got huge. Like, I feel like bigger than we ever could imagine. TikToked during the pandemic. Like, it blew up. And one thing that really gained popularity during that time were people doing some crazy bike shit. I'm talking wild dancing. They were going fast out of that saddle. They're doing some really crazy cool dance moves and all this stuff. Well, Cycle Bar always branded itself as an inclusive brand. I'm not saying that's wrong. I love that. Anybody can show up. Anybody can feel welcome there. Anybody can feel comfortable there. Anybody can do the workout, right? Love that. but everybody's sitting online watching videos of this super cool shit that people are doing on bikes. Safe or not, we don't give a fuck. It's cool. I really think a lot of that interest shifted related to cycling. Now, I'm not talking about all the whole fitness industry trends right now. I'm talking about cycling. People wanted to do that. Like, other stuff was cooler than Cycle Bar after the pandemic. Cycle Bar had to mass produce. It's a franchise, right? So you have all these studios. If you go to a McDonald's in your town and you go to McDonald's in another state, the Big Mac is the Big Mac, baby. The fries are the fries. So when you're franchising something, it has to be consistent. The idea is that you get your brand, your product handed to you on a silver platter. It should be plug and play. That would include, if Cycle Bar is a franchise, that it is going to be the cookie cutter mold of what you expect at any Cycle Bar. That means that it's going to be consistent. It has to be the same. If we're inclusive, if we're safe in Dayton, Ohio, which is 3 years behind the trends, then you're expecting the same thing in New York City and LA. They're not riding bikes the same way we are here in the Midwest. I think that's hard to sustain in a culture that like demands and change so quickly, especially related to social media, what people are seeing and what is hot on social media. So I think one of the biggest downfalls of Cycle Bar is that they couldn't keep up with what was cool. Like, period. I don't think they adapted fast enough to keep up with what was cool, among many other things. And that hurt. We saw a lot of our strongest instructors leave. And again, I think there's other reasons for that. I think pay was huge decline in pay for instructors after the pandemic. We could talk about instructor pay. I think fitness instructors are grossly underpaid. Underpaid with the brand they left. I think that there were cultural issues, 1,000% cultural issues. And I think people wanted to do cool shit, and we couldn't do cool shit in Cycle Bar. I'm not saying like cool, like we were just doing the thing, but like people wanted something different. The market wanted something different. The clientele wanted something different. We want that cool, fresh, new vibe. How are we changing and adapting to make sure that we maintain that cool, fresh vibe? That hurt. I think that hurt. So what we saw, and so I'm going to give a shout out now to we have a Cincinnati cycling gym called Nick's Cycle, right? And Nick worked for Cycle Bar many years ago, but iconic in the Cincinnati area, and he opened his own brand. And I know it's modeled off, I think, like what another instructor does in Arizona and stuff like that, some inspiration from another instructor, but it's like super trendy, super hot. It's challenging. It's hard, but it's fresh and it's hot. And the appeal is there. It's cool. The cool factor, just you could go to the Nick Cycle Instagram page. You're like, that shit looks cool. Right? It's like literally marketing 101. That looks cool. That looks tough. Maybe on some level, it's even exclusive. Oh, did I just use a bad word? Maybe on some level, it's exclusive. And is there appeal in something that you have to like kind of work your way into? I don't know. And I'm not saying, here's the thing about like Nick's. I'll tell you right now, because I've been there and I know the people who are heavily involved with it. Anybody can walk through that door and feel welcome, right? That's not what I mean by exclusive. Anybody can walk in there and they will welcome you with open arms. I promise that. So if you look at that, you're like, damn, that looks cool, but Sam said it's exclusive. No, I'm saying you can walk in and you will feel welcome and they will make you feel at home there and they'll get you through your workouts. But what I'm saying is, it's like, damn, like that shit looks tough. Right? I don't know. Like, can I do like, look how good they look. Oh, but I want to be that. Like, I want to go. Like, I think there's a cool appeal to that. And that makes it popular. I'll pivot here a little bit and say, let's talk about Soul Cycle. Soul Cycle was so exclusive. So exclusive. Their master instructors, like their main instructors, like they were icons. Like people knew their names, like celebrities. Cycle Bar had an era of celebrity instructors that people found this big appeal in. Soul Cycle had their era of these instructors that were like big names in the fitness industry, that people knew them by name. That's crazy, right? And so there's this huge appeal of this popularity and this like wow factor and damn, the classes are so hard, but like whatever, man, like if you can get in and you could ride with the wolf pack on the same leg, yada yada, you gotta ride at a certain ability level to ride in the front row. Did it self-sabotage? I don't know. People kind of left then. People started leaving Soul Cycle. I think Soul Cycle got bought out. I don't keep up with their drama. I have enough Cycle Bar drama to try to keep up with. But people started leaving the brand. I believe they got sold. They mass produced. They started opening up Soul Cycles all over. They started hiring anybody. I said what I said. I don't want to be nice anymore. Do you know how hard it used to be a Soul Cycle instructor? Like, that was like the dream. Like, I don't think I would have ever had the ability to be a Soul Cycle instructor back in the Soul Cycle prime days. Today, 1,000%, I think I could go be a Soul Cycle instructor. Absolutely. Sorry, said what I said. I went to a Soul Cycle class in New York City. That's like Fitness Central. Like, do you know how many like awesome fitness people, fitness shit there is in New York City? Like, that is like, hey, I want to go back and just do fitness all the time. I was with my family, but I want to go back and like just do a fitness tour of New York City. Like, it's incredible, right? And Soul Cycle used to be so big there. I went to a Soul Cycle class. It was Times Square, so maybe that's not a cool place. I get it. It's like touristy, whatever. I went to a Soul Cycle class and there was like 7 people in the class. And I was by far the strongest rider in the room. What happened? What is happening? And that's really what inspired this whole episode. I'm like, holy shit, like fitness brands, more specifically, trend. They are hot and popular, and then they're not. It's like your bell bottoms. So will it be back in style one day? Maybe. I don't know. Bell bottoms are back, right? Are we calling them bell bottoms or flares? Anyway, it kind of blew my mind. What I also thought was really interesting, I'd shared this on my social media. I went up to the instructor after class. What also, let me back up. What was really interesting was that the class felt identical to a cycle bar ride. Like, I honestly, when I was writing, I was like, I bet this instructor used to teach at Cycle Bar. That's how convinced I was. It was dead on to a Cycle Bar ride. So I go, and we went a little bit faster. We had a couple, like, 130 jogs out of the saddle, but, like, nothing unobtainable. Like, for 30 seconds, right? The same way at Cycle Bar, we were allowed to dabble with some fast speeds out of the saddle. So I go up to the instructor after the class, and I'm like, how long you been teaching? Yada, yada, like doing my normal convo. And she'd been teaching since, I don't know, a couple of years, something like that. And she's like, I could tell you've ridden before. I was like, yeah. I was like, I actually was a master instructor for Cycle Bar for 7 years. And she was like, oh, wow. And we kind of got in this conversation. She's like, I feel like Cycle Bar is really different than Soul Cycle. And I said, how do you explain? She's like, well, and she was so sweet, right? Like, she did not want to talk bad about Cycle Bar. I was like, say what you want, sister. It's fine. Safe space. But no, she did. She was so sweet. And she was like, I feel like Cycle Bar is like very stats driven and very like cookie cutter. Like, you know, like it's very vanilla. And I'm like, sis, you think it's boring. Just say it. Like, I get the image. But what was crazy to me was here's this instructor and her image, she didn't say it. So I'm ad-libbing. I'm like rephrasing. She said, because this was the vibe she was putting up, Cycle Bar is boring. I'll tell you, what I did for 7 years was never fucking once boring. Like, never once boring. The image, how impactful branding and marketing can be. The image had changed. That Cycle Bar was not cool. It was not like ahead of its time, and like the vibe's boring. That's what this instructor said. Well, I wanted to be like, sis, you taught a Cycle Bar class, like, you know, like that. So too, what was interesting to me was like, I took a Soul Cycle class in 2019 in Hollywood, California. That was nothing like what this girl taught. It was way faster, The class was way more crowded. There was way more talented writers. And then it was like night and day from what I took here. Like, I need to be careful what I say because she was a fabulous instructor. It was a great class. The skill level wasn't there. The advanced writing wasn't there, which is fine because I wasn't being advanced. But it has changed so much. I'm like, holy shit. What has happened? What is happening? And this is entirely opinion based, as I think sometimes brands get too big for the britches. How about that? I think brands get too big for the britches. But I think there is appeal in exclusivity, in these like niche environments where there is an elite club. And I get it. Like, there are going to be people who are like, I fucking hate that gym intimidation shit. I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about the cult life. Oh. And again, there be some people who don't like it, but I think it's interesting from a money business standpoint, the rise and the fall of these brands. And when I look at the peak of some of these brands, there was a celebrity-like involvement in it with the instructors. There was a cult-like feeling, like Die Hard. There was a challenge to it. It was hot. It was new. When I look at these smaller gyms like Nick Cycle and Cincinnati, same vibes. That's the vibes it's giving. And there's success in that from a marketing, branding, and building that like gym family in it. Say what you want. Love it, hate it. It's like builds popularity. It's a popularity contest. So I just think that that's really fascinating to see. And I wonder if smaller gyms, so again, I'm thinking about my friends down at Nick Cycle. So not long after they opened, Nick added a strength side. Fucking genius. Thank God he did that because everybody wants to lift weights right now. Like, that is so popular right now. We are talking about lifting weights. Circuit. We opened a gym in Dayton. I say we like I am Dayton. A gym opened up in Dayton called Exo Fitness, and it is strength and conditioning. It is like the most basic. I say basic, but it's like truly building muscle, cardio, speed and agility exercises. Like it's very functional, like just true fitness. You know what I mean? Like no gimmicks, I guess I would say. Like it is what it is. We're riding the assault bike. We're pushing sleds. We're using sandbags, you know, like all that shit. And then also like Pilates is big. I'll talk about the Pilates and Legree movement here in just a second. But what I think is really interesting is that strength piece is coming. And what I think is genius is that Nick Cycle added a strength side to keep up with the trends. And so if you're going to own a gym, to me, you're going to find more success if you can financially afford it to open up your own space, maintain the cool factor, adapt quickly, and meet the demand of the trends that people want to do. What are we talking about on the internet? You may disagree with it, but like if it's fucking popular and it's going to make you money and that's your goal, then like how do you meet that from a business standpoint? You know what I mean? The other thing that I think is really interesting is this Pilates Legree thing, right? Oh my God. I have a podcast episode, actually one of my most downloaded episodes, that is Legree is not Pilates. And I have a local Dayton gym owner who owns a Legree studio space, and she talks a lot about Legree and what that is. And you can check it out if you're interested in that. But Legree, Pilates, whatever, is hot right now, like both of them. And it's this idea of very low impact. Legree is moving really, really slow. Pilates is a lot about like recovery, but you can still build a little bit of like strength in that and stuff too. So, but very hot and very popular. And Legree really took off. Right? Like this is something we're talking about. Are we going to be talking about Legree in 5 years? I don't know. I don't know. I would be very interested to see what happens. I just think that things trend. Something is hot and then it's not. It's just like the nature. So why do things trend? Like why do people, are we bored? Do we get burnout? Do we want the next hottest thing? Like it's the same. It goes back to talking about fashion trends, right? People are just going to be drawn into the next thing. Do I think it's a bad thing? No, unless you own a gym. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing. And I am not here to bash any brand. I am not here to bash any modality. I'm the kind of girl that says, baby, if you like to do it, do it. That's the best kind of workout, the one that you're going to do. Okay. I don't care. I will never sit and debate with somebody which workout is the best workout. I don't fucking care. I do them all. I love them all. And you should do what you love. All right. I took my first Hyrox style class. Let's talk about Hyrox. This is trending right now. Hyrox is a race, and Hyrox goes up against CrossFit, in my opinion, in this style of competition. First of all, let me just opinion based. I hate fitness competitions. That's because your girl ain't ever gonna win, okay? And if I can't win at it, I don't want to do it. But anyway, I want to do my workout for fun and get my workout. I don't want to compete with anybody. I don't want to race. I don't want to get last, and I will. But so I never got into CrossFit. For one, it was to me scary as hell. CrossFit people scare me in the best way possible. I respect the hell out of you. Those of you who do kips on the bar. You know what? I tried to do kips when I was like in gymnastics so many years ago, and it took me like years to get my kip. I'm not trying to bring that back. I don't even know if you guys call it a kip. That's just all that I know it is. Anyway, so I never got into CrossFit. That was just a little like too gym bro for me. It just wasn't my style. But again, I totally respect the people who do it. Incredibly strong, athletic people. Love you for that. But Hyrox race, it adds this idea of running with some different exercises. I believe there's like a row, a ball wall toss, like some other exercises, a lot of cardio. I can tell you that though. But anyway, so this Hyrox race is gaining popularity quickly because it's easier to enter. You don't have to learn any fancy gymnastics moves to do a Hyrox race. It's a much easier thing for people to compete in, and anybody can compete in it. And the thing with the Hyrox race too is it's all the same. The distance is the same. The exercises are the same. The reps are the same. So like anybody, you can compare your time against anybody's in the whole world. I just said I don't like to race. I definitely don't need to race against the entire world, but people are very into it. I took my first Hyrox class. Probably wasn't for me, but I also kind of got the appeal in the idea of beating my own time. So I was like, all right, that almost killed me. Your girl just doesn't like to run. But I was like, but I'd like to maybe try it again and see if I can beat my time. So I get the appeal in that, but I don't see myself doing Hyrox long term. That's that style. Just because I'm in my low intensity, low impact phase right now. That trend is way more appealing to me. I just have more energy throughout the day, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, but that's like very popular right now. It's gaining popularity. Do you remember when Tough Mudders were the shit? Like, people were like very into running and doing like Tough Mudders and the Spartan race and stuff like that. Like that was a phase. Do y'all remember Zumba? Like, do you remember when like Zumba peaked? It was like 2000. Let's see. I was in Florida, like 2010-ish, 11-ish. Like Zumba was it, baby. It really had its strong run. I think what the cool thing is with all these things, everything I've mentioned, let's go back to Jazzercise. It's still here. Like, it's still here. Jazzercise is still here. Pure Barre has had a hell of a long run. Pure Barre, we need to get the brains behind the Pure Barre behind us, because like I feel like when I look at exponential fitness brands, that's my expertise. Pure Barre is just like consistent, baby. Like they're just doing good. We look at like Pure Barre. We look at, do you remember the yoga trends? Like, do you remember when yoga was big on Instagram and everybody was doing the yoga trends? Like you had to do a different yoga pose every single day and post it online. Yeah, I have an entire yoga account on Instagram somewhere out there with all my yoga challenges. I don't know the login, so I can't delete it, but it's still on the internet. Yoga had a really strong run, but it's still here. Like people still love yoga. You know, we still got yogis left and right. Strength training will always be consistent. You know, personal training, strength training, I look at that as kind of its own genre. Like the people who go and like hire a personal trainer, like they got real fucking goals. Like they got real. I'm not saying those of us who don't go to these different gym trends like don't have goals. I'm just saying like usually you're like looking for that very specific guidance and help and stuff like that. So I'm really not like including that in my conversation. I'm talking about just the trends and the things that we see. We've seen Zumba make its appearance. CrossFit was big at one point in time. People were like very into 5Ks and races there for a while. We got the High Rocks race is popular now. Cycling really had a big run. Like I really think the peak of the Soul Cycle days, Cycle Bar, Flywheel was around and then kind of, fell off. I think now what we're seeing with cycling are these little like tiny individually owned boutique studios. I think that's so smart. Like, let's go mass. Don't get too big for your britches, but cycling will be around forever. Like cycling has been around forever and it will always be here. It's a great form of cardio. How you ride that bike with whether you dancing on it or you riding in, what's that France race? Tour de France. That's what it is. However you choose to ride your bike, inside, outside, dancing on it in a dark room, whatever. Like cycling's not going away. It's not. It's just what's going to be the next hot thing with cycling. What's that going to look like? I think it'll rotate back through again. I think we'll probably see Stats come back. I think Stats really had a fallout with indoor cycling when we got into the dancey phase with things. And I think we're going to see like a rise back to like what I did 10 years ago with heart rate training and stuff like that. So, it's crazy, man. Like, and my point of this episode again was there's no like real conclusive thought, just to like brain dump on what I have witnessed. But I think a couple final closing thoughts here. I think you as if you're a consumer in the fitness industry, and you're like, shit, I'm just trying to figure out what to do. Baby, just do what you like. Just do what you like. If you're like, well, I'm worried now that I hear like high intensity could be bad and it's going to mess up my cortisol and it's like too stressful. Like, really, like, I don't know, talk to your doctor, see if that is actually a genuine concern for you. I did talk to my doctor. I did get blood tests and there was some concern because I have Hashimoto's, like literally an autoimmune disease where my body is attacking my thyroid. So I do have to be a little bit more aware of some of that high intensity stuff, but it doesn't mean I can't do it. And it's not like I'm doing it so much to the point where it's like damaging me. I'm not teaching cycling 5 days a week or anything like that. So, do what you love. Do what feels good to your body. Just move. Just move. And I think that that's like the biggest thing you can do. I was talking to a friend who's very new to fitness, and I love watching her journey. And she really shared a very self-aware text. And she talked about one class that I recommended she try. And she was like, I absolutely hate that. I will never be back because if I don't like it, I'm not going to keep doing it. What else do we got? And so she's exploring what she likes to do so she can find something that's going to keep her moving, that's going to keep her coming back again and again. And that's what is really important at the end of the day. And if you want to follow the trends and stuff like I do, I took my first High Rocks style class. Maybe I'll do a race. I don't know. Like, keep it interesting, keep it fresh. And then if you're a business gym owner, how can you stay up with the trends? How can you keep it fresh? Like if you're hot right now, what's your 5-year plan to stay on top of the trends? Are you in a space that can adapt to the demand of your people, your clients? What do they want to do? What do they want to see next? And how can you market yourself? I think that's a big thing too. Like, don't yourself so tight in a way that prevents you from ever being able to adapt or change. And how can you make that communication as your brand does change? What does that look like? It's people underestimate, gym owners underestimate the power of social media and the power of creating a brand that looks cool online. And sorry, call it what you will. That matters. That matters. And I think gym should be sexy. And I'm not saying that that's a body type. Sexy is not a body type, my friends. It's an energy. Quote me on that. Sexy is not a body type. It's an energy. Create a sexy gym space. I'm telling you, that's what people want. Okay? People want to be a part of that. And it should be friendly and it should be welcoming. And we want it to be inclusive. And there are brands that are very, that is their brand. And if that works for them, great. But how then do we market that? How do we advertise that in a way that allows you to stay cool and relevant without being like silver sneakers? Although, my mom loves silver sneakers. So, like, is silver sneakers trending? I don't know. So there's so much out there, yo. To me, it's just interesting. These really big brand names that really saw their heyday and then completely fell. And again, I'm talking about trends, but y'all know the demand is one thing, but the internal culture drama is a whole nother episode. So maybe one day. I hope you guys have a great day. You deserve it.